We are live. Holy crap! This has been a while since we've been able to be live. It's been a hot minute. It's been for those of you who are watching us on Facebook, watching us live. We've been gone for a while because this account had been reported for hate speech. So hey, by other libertarians. It's great. It's been a fun ride the past month. But we've learned our lesson. We're better now. We apologize for all the hurt feelings and the sad emotions we caused the frail libertarians here in Alabama.
Bullshit.
And we were wrong. We were so wrong in calling you bitches.
That's enough. That's enough of that. That's enough of that.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
We apologize. No, this is on Civil Liberty, and we're back. We're back live. We're going to try to stay live at least for another week or two before we get banned for hate speech yet again. Oddly enough, nothing in that entire episode that started this dumpster fire spiral about our show was really even hate speech. It was just people got butthurt. So that's what happens when libertarians attack. They get butthurt and they report to Facebook. But we're back. This is on Civil Liberty. We have Halston. Say hi, Halston.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
And we have Horace.
Hello.
Yeah, and Whit's gone MIA. Haven't heard from him in a couple of weeks. We hope he comes back.
I talked to Christy. Talked to his significant other.
Okay. Well, hey, then
all good in the hood. We've got some recovering to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, so that's fine. Not a problem. But yeah, hey, check out our website on civilliberty.com. We haven't really done much with it. We just kind of post our videos on there and a little piece of content here and there. Check out our Facebook page if you haven't. If you're not watching us on Facebook, it's Uncivil Liberty Show. I see. I don't know what our tag is. Yeah, at Uncivil Liberty Show here on Facebook. And where else? Twitter. We got Twitter. So check out all those wonderful places. And if you just want to kind of listen back to some of the shows, everything's out on podcast. Isn't that right, Horace?
Yep.
Right.
That it is indeed.
He is our podcast master.
You've got it on video format on Facebook and YouTube. You've got it on audio format on our website, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play.
Cool. Sweet. Yep. And it looks like we're getting some responses. The fact that we are back live. So we're going to try to keep this live thing just as long as possible. But do keep in mind we still have the official. I don't know if the lighting will allow me to show the Uncivil Liberty box of Summer's Eve for the libertarian douches who like to report. And I see I'm making Halston a little nervous. He's like, we just got this live thing back.
Yeah, there we go. It's fucking gone.
And we're shut down again because feelings. Right, so anyways, tonight, for those of you who saw the post, kind of know what we're talking about. But we're actually going to be talking about a lot of the libertarian trash that's kind of really floating to the surface right now. If you haven't really been paying attention to what's going on inside the Libertarian Party as a whole, from a national perspective, even from the state perspective, or just in the movement itself, there is a lot of trash really floating to the surface across the board. And it's really kind of hard to pinpoint one major thing that's really popping up. But suffice to say, it's given the libertarian brand, quote unquote, just a really, really, really bad public view, I guess. Is, the brand is certainly tainted at this point.
It's honestly, I think it's been tainted for a while.
It may have been tainted, but what has happened over the past month has definitely not helped at all. None whatsoever. I mean, it's like, hey, can we make this worse? Yes, we can. Here's how we're gonna do it, step by step.
There is a reason for a long time now. If somebody said, "Well, you're a libertarian," no, I'm not a fucking libertarian. I'm an anarchist.
Yeah, and that's the thing that was a lot of times also with the anarchist peoples tend to lean into the Libertarian Party to an extent, but when the Libertarian Party as a whole can't keep their shit together, that's when you see the anarchists being like, "Yeah, this has been fun, but you guys are all messed up, so we're out." And that's kind of what you're seeing in pretty much across the board, whether at a state level or national level. You're seeing more and more people kind of really starting to get arm's length with the Libertarian Party. Well, and I can't really say I blame them. I mean, there's a lot of really, really crazy shit going on right now.
Well, I mean, take my case for instance. I had been actively recruited and been convinced to join.
And I'm sorry for that. And I'm sorry for that.
The Libertarian Party.
Yeah, we got you into this shit.
Until the chair made it very clear I was not wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Go ahead. I'm actually reading Facebook comments for the first time in like a month. Hang on a second. Hey.
That's I mean. That says a lot about where the party's at, is when somebody who's already been recruited is basically told they're not wanted. Because they're not willing to toe the line. I've never been one to toe the line. I call bullshit when I see it. And Luke, you know this because when you were looking at doing a run and you sent me a copy of your platform.
When I was looking at running for state office, yep.
I said, said, look, give me a call. You call me, it's like, look, dude, this and this is bullshit.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what people need a lot of times. I mean, like anyone who's wanted to take on the mantle of being a public servant, especially in an elected position, they need somebody who's going to call them on their shit.
And I will not hesitate. And like I said, you're one of my closest and dearest friends. So if I'm going to call you, well, I've known you longer than Halston. Halston's right up there though, and along with some, basically the crew that gets together at your house. Yeah,
get together. Yeah, come to Luke's house for a fun night on the front porch. bunch of cigarettes smoking and arguing about politics and other shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah, basically what you hear on here is Luke's front porch.
Yeah, pretty much. I think also, I think that's kind of how this whole thing started too. So.
Yep.
So.
We're getting some views coming in. All right, cool. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, no, it's just it's a clusterfuck. So.
It is. And it's even stuff not even stuff that I've touched. It seemed like anything I was touching was turning into a fire real quick, and that's fine. There ain't no problem with that. But it's at a level where even I don't even have any way of causing any type of controversy. And it's sad. It really is, because there's a lot of really good people who are putting their time and their money and their energies into advocating for a brand that's trying to destroy itself. It's hell bent on destroying itself at this point.
I would say very actively destroying itself.
Yeah,
and successfully.
So we'll touch on a few of these different topics, but let's kind of roll in. Halston, you've been kind of quiet. Why don't you chime in on your opinion on the state of affairs currently inside the Libertarian movement, whether it's officially the LP or not?
Well, I'm really glad I joined the Libertarian Party to get that really soft T-shirt. So I'm gonna get that out there. That T-shirt is fucking bomb. But I'm really trying to figure out how to get that symbol off there. It's that bad. And it's not something that's, opposed to. It's a little in opposition to what Horace thinks here, but I think it's probably salvageable at some point down the road. But they're really trying their best to light as many fires under every trash can they can find. It's just kind of shitty, but whatever. Yeah. But as far as the rest of it, what?
I don't know. I mean, did you see the latest thing out of Arvin, whatever his name is, or something Arvin?
Did I miss something? Did I miss?
No, I didn't see that.
The last thing I heard was, and we'll talk about that, because it was, you want to talk about a knee-jerk reaction. Yes, it wasn't worded very well at all. Yes, it came across as horrible, but we'll talk about that. What came out recently?
Okay, well,
define recently.
Last month and a half.
Oh yeah. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, it's the whole pedophile post.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Jesus Christ! Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. I guess we can go ahead and kind of talk about that. We all saw it. We all kind of chewed on it. And we're like, what the hell is going on with these people?
And remember, this is the same guy.
This is leadership. This is libertarian leadership coming out.
Who called, what was it? Military police and teachers
rapists.
Murderers? Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
Not going to win any friends with that. You're not going to convert anybody to the Libertarian Party. You go around calling them rapists.
This is the vice chair?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really?
That's what I mean. That's the type of dumb shit that just makes everybody look at the life cycle of the Libertarian Party as it currently sits like not viable at all. And I don't know if this party can get its shit together, but I think a small government party has some viability out there in the future. But this one we're having a hard time, and it really does suck that there's so many people that are throwing their lives into it and busting their balls to try to get shit together. And like everybody at the top of the food chain are like, nah, fuck you.
Nope. We're gonna sink this ship. We're gonna sink this ship. Thank you for your donations. We're gonna
fuck all you guys. I'm about to write a really hate-filled book, and you guys are fucking shitty. And that's how. And then he's gonna drop the mic and jump over to the Republican Party, whoever it is. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah. I think overall it's pretty sad that the Constitution Party seems to have a lot more credibility than the LP at this point. And people seem to be okay with it, you know?
At least they are fairly consistent as far as standing by what they preach.
I'm not a fan of the Constitution Party, not a fan of them at all, but I will, like the Westboro Baptist Church, I will give them credit that they are actually standing by some sort of doctrine, some sort of principles, whether I agree with those principles or not. Hey, at least you're being intellectually honest. That's all I can.
Company for those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Constitution Party, Westboro Baptist Church.
Honestly, from what I know of it, the fourth largest party in the U.S. is also that way. Say what you want, but the Green Party stands by what they preach.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with it.
Yeah,
but they stand by it.
They do. They're hardcore green communists. It's pretty much what their platform is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're they roll with it. I can respect intellectual honesty. I don't care. I don't have to agree with you, but if you're maintaining a line of thought and you're standing by it, great, awesome.
Yeah, I can support you even if every single one of your opinions is based on emotion and zero fact whatsoever. I can still support you if that's what you stand by. Those are your guns. You're sticking to them. I can at least be like, you know what? I respect that. Right. Stupid, but I respect it.
I would say I can respect it, not support it though.
Oh fuck no. Yeah, I support them and their endeavor to their retardation.
So,
and Laura Lane just popped in and said that there's a motion at the LNC to censor Arvin. It's not going to go anywhere. I mean, my God, the latter part of last year, I was knee deep in a lot of this stuff, and I was really trying to work, especially with the state party, a lot. It's all fluff and nonsense. There ain't nothing going to happen. It's a slap on the wrist. Don't do it again. Okay. What are they going to do? Pull his paycheck? No, they're not going to do that. Were they going to kick him off? That ain't going to happen either. No. So, it is what the LNC wants this type of bad publicity. They're the ones who are the ones throwing their money away.
Have y'all? And this is a little off topic, but have y'all seen the LNC chair's reply to the State of the Union?
No.
That man has all the fucking charisma of a wet noodle.
Oh yeah, and that's there's a lot of people who do like him. They think that he's like the greatest thing that's happened to the LNC, but he can't even seem to keep the vice chair, under control.
I
don't even know who the fuck it is.
Yeah, Nick Sarwark.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sarwark. Yeah.
I could not finish watching it. I mean, he was so fucking boring. I mean, show some enthusiasm. I could have a machine read it and show more emotion. I think
that damn Joe Kennedy the third or whoever the fuck. That's a charismatic little fucker. Did you watch the Democratic one?
No, but
I watched it just
saw
because it was right
up.
after the State of the Union.
I saw
I mean, typical whiny, everything's wrong, but still charismatic. He'll be the president one day.
Oh, yeah, he will. Hopefully, by the time that I vacate this lost cause of a land and pursue greener pastures in Costa Rica or somewhere else. It's just getting silly, and to the point where it's just like it's not even worth it's not even worth opening up Facebook anymore for me.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. I was like, man, I'm really fucking tired of politics. Because this
is the wrong show to be tired of politics on.
Well, no, that's politics is bullshit. So that's our tagline. Yeah. So I'll stay true to that. But I'm getting tired of like the bipartisan shit that you have to always hear. Republicans, Democrats. You know,
it's exactly like that. I actually saw a video. It was
just like that. Yeah. But like Horace was saying earlier, it's like you got motherfuckers saying the Trump State of the Union was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. They said that 3 fucking days ago before it even happened. And then it's full of racism. Bet you didn't watch that. And then like this one, like Horace was saying, you got people are like everything he said was terrible. Well, really? Because that's like half of it's what Democrats asked for.
In this case, it was a post about, that if you agreed with anything, and anything was in all caps.
Yeah.
That he said, let me know so I can get rid of you.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I read the State of the Union. I did not watch it. Y'all heard me say it before. I will skip over videos because I'm not interested. I would prefer to read. Give me a story, not something I have to watch. I can read a hell of a lot faster. But I read the State of the Union. And, I disagreed with quite a bit of it. There were a couple of things I definitely agreed with. One in particular that he went on about that I definitely agree with. Terminal patients should have the right to seek alternative treatments, whether they're FDA approved or not.
Yep. No, but even going, is this guy that you're talking about? I mean, you don't have to blast him, but is he libertarian? Or more left leaning?
Centrist?
Okay. So kind of there. But like this, like that's what I was talking to a guy at work today that is a little left leaning, not too far, but he was like, yeah, it was a really divisive speech. And I was like, what about that part about the Dreamers, man? Can you believe it? And he was like, yeah, that's really dirty what he's doing to them. I was like, wait a minute, motherfucker. Like, he's like literally paving a pathway to citizenship with amnesty. That's shit you didn't even ask for. That's like trying to catch him in a bullshit moment, and I caught him.
And I believe for more than has been done in a long time, if not ever, 1.8 million.
Yeah, that's a bunch, man. That's incredible. And then the other thing, like clean coal, right? He catches so much shit about beautiful clean coal, which is a really stupid way to say it. It's not beautiful. It's just fucking clean coal or whatever. But everybody forgets that just 4 or 5 years ago, Obama administration invested $84 million in clean coal. Like, it's just the divisive bullshit is what kills me. And now we're dealing it with our own fucking party. We're dealing with divisive libertarian shit within our own group. I shouldn't even say party, within the whole group of libertarians, small government and anarchists.
Yeah, it's not specific to the party. I mean, the party has its own problems, no doubt about that. It's a complete clusterfuck. There's really no nice way to say it. You can kind of polish it up and make it sound pretty, but honestly, you're just painting a turd, because that's kind of where everything's at. The party is just reflecting what's going on the underside of those who are unaffiliated with the political party, but affiliated with the philosophy. It is a complete. It's a shit show. Yeah. But to kind of tying back in, to the overall theme, the libertarian trash, the people that love them. Let's start delving a little bit deeper into that aspect. And the libertarian movement has had a lot of black eyes, and to the point where even the party itself is just honestly at the state and at the national level totally refusing to try to repair the damage that's being done. They'd rather blow money on ballot access thing, and that's going to solve the world's problems. When in all actuality, people are leaving because the message is completely fucked up, and the quote unquote leaders, whether they're elected leaders inside the party or those who appoint themselves or people appoint them as philosophical leaders of the movement, are starting to zigzag all over the place. And I think a really good place to start is we could really start with Chris Cantwell. Chris Cantwell was one of those who's very strong in the Free State Project. He has a lot of ties up there in New Hampshire. For those of you who don't know, Free State Project is supposed to be like this libertarian heaven in Keene, New Hampshire, of all places, Keene, New Hampshire. I've been there multiple times. So I don't know why you picked that place. But they're the one. But Free State Project, Chris Cantwell. They were very heavy on the anarcho-capitalist side of the fence. And then, Cantwell aligned himself with the Libertarian Party. Well, flash forward to 2017, Chris Cantwell is leading the Charlottesville white supremacy movement. This is a huge black eye.
Well, before that, there was another black eye. Florida.
Well, yeah, and okay.
Augustus and Viticus.
Exactly.
God damn it. Every time I hear that, I'm like, man, what a great fucking name.
That's an amazing name for such a shitty
Oh, my God. Could have been a fucking gladiator. No, you're a fucking
What's
white
funny
supremacist.
is that he has actually left the party. Augustus and Viticus left the party and is now inside the GOP.
Oh, thank God. It doesn't matter because they welcome that type of shit, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Constitution Party light.
Mm-hmm.
But, so... That's one great example that, people are like, let's try to ignore that. The problem is that those who are opposed to the libertarian ideology aren't ignoring it. They're bringing it up day in and day out, and nobody is actually standing up and trying to refute that. There are too many people who are just accepting it being what it is and trying to move forward and just focusing on, what, if we dump money into just getting on the ballot, that'll fix everything. Instead of taking a step back and saying, hey, look, we got some problems internally we need to work out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's another name I can think of that was big in the libertarian circles and everything. It was one of the people that helped get me, to where I'm at. But, now I can't recommend him. I mean, and if I do, it's like, look, watch this video, this video, this video, this video, this video. Read this piece, this piece, this. Ignore everything else. Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Oh, yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
It's all these people who led me to anarcho-capitalism and, the philosophy have done a fucking 180 and turned their backs on it.
Halston, are you familiar with Stefan Molyneux?
No.
Right.
But I'm familiar with reactions like that, so I know where this is going.
Yeah, it's going downhill quick.
Yeah, I'm sure I've come across some pieces here and there. So.
You can't miss him. I don't know where he's from. I think
last I heard he was in Canada.
No, I said from, not
from.
Where he's at.
Let's say
he's not American.
Let's say Nebraska. Oh, okay.
Sure.
So he's Nebraska.
No, he's not. He's not American.
All right. Let's say
I think
Ukraine.
Maybe European.
Let's say European. Yeah.
France.
He's French.
No, I'm thinking maybe Sweden, Denmark, one of those countries, one of the Nordic countries. Anyway, he lives in Canada, and he was one of the guiding lights.
I remember. I remember because back, when I started getting a little bit heavier into politics, once I kind of figured out a little bit better kind of where I fell on things, he was a big one. A lot of his older videos were very on point when it came to, nobody owns you. What's your message to people? And he was very logical in the way that he would think. And then all of a sudden, 2 years ago, he did a 180, and now all of a sudden he is just hardcore Trumper. Like, he's defending the idea of building a wall. which was against his original stance because he was against the idea of borders to begin with.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of them. Back around when the Ron Paul movement was big, a lot of these guys started coming out, and and being more and more prevalent. Cantwell was one of them. But then you saw Stefan Molyneux, who's kind of leading the charge, as well as people like Kokesh. A lot of these names, these activists, were. I'm not really sure what's going on. Horace, you okay over there? You're distracting me.
Sorry, trying to communicate quietly with Katie.
Okay. I see all that movement. I'm trying to keep my train of thought, and it's getting derailed very quickly. Oh shit!
We're off the rails already.
Let me mute myself for a second.
Okay, go for
Feel
it.
free.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think there's there's no hiding. Like if you were to ask a group of people who really don't know too many libertarians personally, if you were to say like describe the perfect libertarian, it would be like a average middle class white dude. I mean, that's just the way it is. But now it's taken these people are just taking it way too far to make it seem like that's the only people who can be libertarians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the shit stain that we deal with, because everything that we do makes sense to us, and then you have these dickheads that come around and they get the national spotlight put on them, and that's what we got to deal with. We got to stomp out these fires, and hopefully people still like us.
There's more damage control being done because of them than actual forward movement.
Right.
Yeah.
And damage control on an individual level, like with me saying, "Hey, I'm a libertarian." It kind of is like I now got to do damage control because of
but
these
not that kind. Not that kind.
I'm not that kind. I'm not, and that's kind of what I'm also seeing inside the overall libertarian movement is that there's becoming more and more of a line being drawn in the sand. Yep. You don't have people who are actually who are standing up for liberty. You're having two different sides of statist arguments. Yeah. that are wearing the name tag of libertarian. Libertarian socialist. It's like octopus banana. It doesn't work. Logically that doesn't work. And then you look at the alt-right supporters over here on this side, and then I'll go ahead and bring up the one person who has probably made some of the biggest waves over the past week inside the overall quote unquote libertarian, maybe even anarcho-capitalist side of the house, Christopher Chase Rachels.
This fucking guy.
I saw the cover work of his new book, and I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. There's no way to come back from this.
Yeah, and that cover was not supposed to get out. That was the original cover. Yeah, I know. It was not supposed to get out.
Whoops.
He was going to submit it to someone else to get their approval before, anybody else ever saw it. It did escape him, however. Yeah.
So, and that's the only thing you can say with this whole book. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, it's the cover is a helicopter with the anarchy sign, the anarcho-capitalist sign on the top, with people hanging from nooses who are the feminists, Muslims, blah blah, and it says, what was it? White, right, and libertarian. Is that yeah?
White, right, and libertarian.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? Wait a second here,
man.
And so Christopher Chase Rachels, I began following him about the same time as I started following like Kokesh and a lot of these other guys back in the quote unquote Ron Paul era when Ron Paul was becoming bigger. Just kind of just hearing what they had to say. I didn't necessarily disagree with a lot of what he was saying at the time because it was pretty much on point. He was a from what I remember reading in his posts years and years ago, he's talking about he's a bisexual polyamorous person. Great, cool, whatever. That's you, dude. But as time has gone on,
he found Jesus or something.
I think he's finding God. because he was hardcore in the atheist libertarian movement, which I kind of like to watch to see kind of how they fought the religious libertarians. But
yeah, we wonder why we can't take hold anywhere.
Yeah, it's just like yeah, and it's to the point where I have a hard time forming words. Where I'm just like looking at this, I'm like, this is going nowhere. This is a sinking ship that they keep just poking holes in instead of trying to patch it up and find some other way. But yeah, he was one of the ones that was. I could understand where he was coming from. I liked a lot of his philosophies on things, and then he went off and wrote a book called A Spontaneous Order, which he then turned around and advertised all over the libertarian anarcho space.
Let's put this correctly. He spammed the fuck out of it.
Okay, that's fair. Yes, I was trying to be nice and say advertised. The guy couldn't. He was A+ on self marketing, self promotion. You got an A+. You pass the course. When it comes to pretentiousness, you got it. But that
doesn't even count reading the fucking book.
Do what?
The pretentiousness does not even cover the actual book itself.
But he dubbed it the anarcho-capitalist Bible or the Anarchy Bible or something like this.
I'm looking at the cover right now.
Okay.
The full title
is like this thick.
I don't know.
Probably.
It's
Taxation is theft. That's pretty much it. That's all you got to say.
Well, no. It goes into a lot of really esoteric philosophical stuff that etymology, things like that. But the full title of it is A Spontaneous Order: The Capitalist Case for a Stateless Society.
Mm-hmm. All right. So he wrote a book that's supposed to be the Bible about building a stateless society. And then a few years later, he's now releasing White, Right, and Libertarian, where he is advocating for an ethnocentric society that kicks people out who aren't white and advocates for borders.
So he's white nationalist.
Heading that way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
again, I give the Green Party, I give the Constitutionalist Party credit because they're intellectually honest. This is not intellectual honesty at all.
This is actually not libertarianism. Actually,
and it's not. With everything that's gone on with Christopher Cantwell, with all the stuff that's gone on, with all these people waving the libertarian flag, but yet, showing up at Klan rallies and Nazi rallies. The problem I have is that, first off, nowhere in the ideology of libertarianism does it state that liberty is only allowed or only should be advocated for people inside a nation state. It's not controlled by borders.
Right.
It's supposed to be a global. It's supposed to be a transcending nations and races type of mentality that everyone is free. You own yourself.
Yeah.
Trade with who you want to trade with.
Try not to fuck it up.
Yeah, try not to fuck it up. That'd be nice, but that's we can't keep. Well, not we. Certain libertarians can't keep fucking things up. So
yeah.
Why should we expect?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good actually. I'm pretty confident with where we stand.
Who, us three?
Yeah, us three. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
yes. Yeah, us three.
I've actually taken the time over my many years of being on this earth to be able to kind of solidify. Okay, this is what I believe is true.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I may shift a little bit here and there on maybe different aspects of an argument if there's enough logical rebuttal for things. I may shift a position a little bit here and there, or be a little more, I guess, on the fence about certain things, because I haven't been able to fully form an educated opinion on something. I'll be the first one to admit that, because I don't want to take a stance on something and then me be called for being intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
I want to be as honest as possible when I'm talking with people about things. But with the massive shift that we've seen for people, first off championing that liberty is for everyone, now saying liberty are for the white people, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
There's nothing in the ideology of libertarianism does it say it's solely for one race. And the minute that race comes up in conversation in regards to libertarian philosophy, that conversation needs to be shut down real quick because it's for everyone. Do you disagree?
I will disagree that it needs to be shut down.
Okay.
Because, and allow me to explain why. In a anarcho-capitalist society, if a group of white people want to buy up a bunch of land and form a covenant community, and they want to limit it to white people only, that's their right. It's their property. They can do with it what they want.
I will give you that, and that's one of the things too, as far as the conversation of integration and segregation. Those are fine if they're voluntary, and you see this happen naturally in society. People will voluntarily segregate themselves, and if you don't believe me, be an American in Asia. Okay? You will, or be an American in any strange land. You are going to seek out those who are similar to you voluntarily. All right? That's fine, as long as it's voluntary. The minute it becomes a decision made at gunpoint, forced integration or forced segregation, that's where you start getting into problems.
Force anything. I mean, on that same vein, this is why, and we've talked about it before, and this is veering off a little bit, but just kind of reiterating stuff we talked about before. This is why anarcho-socialism and anarcho-communism are not fucking things.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you cannot
have a controlled economy without something controlling the economy.
Well, not just that, but I mean, they do not allow for anarcho-capitalism to exist within them.
Right.
Anarcho-capitalism does allow those to exist within it, though.
Right. No, and that's something that's often debated, pretty regularly in some of these, in some libertarian philosophy circles. That one allows the other to exist, but the other doesn't allow the other one to exist. So yeah.
Yep.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah.
But the biggest, I don't understand why the libertarian movement has begun this infatuation with the idea of skin color. Okay, best way to word this is there's a lot of white trash out there. There's a lot of black trash out there. There's a lot of Latino trash out there. Okay, their skin color doesn't make them trash. They make themselves trash based on the choices that they make and the way they want to live their life. Perfectly fine. All right. So the minute a conversation about libertarianism moves to a based on a color of someone's skin tone, you're no longer having a conversation about liberty. You're now having a conversation about which skin color is better than the other, regardless of what the topic is, because the idea of liberty is transcending. Mm-hmm. And I don't see why more people, especially from the quote unquote leadership inside the political party that's supposed to be representing this philosophy, aren't standing up even more against this type of shit. It's really what it is.
They're too afraid to come out against, to make it seem like they're coming out against free speech or what. They're too afraid to say you shouldn't say that, because then someone's going to say, oh, you're a libertarian telling me what I can and can't say, and it's like, oh, it's like, no, we're just trying to tell you not to be a fucking racist prick. Really simple.
There's a very simple way to handle it from a party standpoint. This does not coincide with our platform. If you wish to be a part of this party, you will cease and desist immediately. Otherwise, we will throw you out, and we will excommunicate you. We will decry you. We will make it very clear, this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
And that's entirely in line with it.
But a statement like that also needs to be equal across the board, and it needs to go towards the Antifa-leaning libertarian socialists as well, saying, "Hey, look, what you stand for is just horrible, and look over at the alt-right people, and what you stand for is just horrible, and none of those represent what libertarianism truly means."
Oh no.
And then
Not even remotely.
of course you always have those people in that forum, in that discussion, be like, well, who made you the king of libertarianism? I can believe, because it's not a philosophy of relativism.
Yeah.
No.
It's not, whatever you believe, we believe. This is not the universal life church.
No.
It is there's some core tenets inside libertarianism that makes it what it is. Otherwise, it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
yeah, and bordertarians is like the perfect word that you used earlier. Like that's what they are. That's what these types of people are. It's tribalism and bordertarianism. Because that's what they would be, even inside a 100% wholly anarcho-capitalist society, and they go buy their own land, and they still only no colors allowed. That's still they're tribalists.
Yeah.
They're still not libertarians.
Yeah.
They just happen to exist inside a libertarian society, but they're still, I don't know, man. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, well, no. As long as they're willing to allow other people to live the way they want, as long as they're not harming anyone else, then yeah, I would say they're still libertarian. Just because they themselves choose a particular path that we don't agree with does not necessarily not make them libertarian.
Right, but if they're advocating for to use force to remove people that they don't want in their society, that's where you kind of cross the line. You know, everyone talks about NAP, the non-aggression principle, blah blah blah.
Yeah, like if it's one dude that owns all this property, like we could get philosophical on this, but if it's like a commune, these guys got their money together, bought this land. Mama Bear sneaks off one night and goes and gets tagged by some black man at the truck stop, and then comes back home, has a little black baby, and then homeboy kicks her out. Right? That's not libertarianism. It's like, get the fuck out of here, even though she owns this money. I mean, owns part of this land or whatever. I mean, we're talking way down the rabbit hole on this shit.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, we can argue for days on little nuances of this shit, but to me, that's not libertarianism. That's just some dude.
That's not really what I stand for when I say that. And it's sad that I have to kind of take a step back and say, should I kind of recategorize the quote unquote label that I put on myself? And apparently I need to have paper towels for some reason. Somebody get Luke some paper towels. I'm not sure. Am I picking my nose and I don't know it? I really don't know.
Who said that? Someone. Are there
Laura,
comments coming through that aren't?
They are. Miss Laura Lane said it. Someone get Luke some paper towels.
You sweating? Jacking off? What the hell's going on?
I did that before the show. That's
I tell you what,
so
you guys should go back and watch that Joe Kennedy speech, because that son of a bitch had some greasy lips, man. That motherfucker had grease all over his mouth. I don't know what was going on. Somebody should have got him one too. But I can't see these wonderful comments.
And Kristen Gould, she asked, I know I'm late, Laura. I know I'm late. Kristen Gould, what book we're talking about. The book is called White, Right, and Libertarian. It's a book that's about to come out by a guy named Christopher Chase Rachels. It's you probably find him under Chase Rachels, I think is the way he's publishing this book.
I think the book maybe say that, but on Facebook he'd be found as Christopher Chase Rachels.
Yeah, CCR. If you ever see anybody referencing CCR in a, they're not talking about Creedence Clearwater Revival. I assure you, that's what I first thought.
Oh God,
no, they're not talking about. They're not
I'm a huge fan of that CCR.
Yes,
I am not a fan of the Rachels.
Yeah. So.
And mind you, let me give a little background with Rachels here, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
I was friends with him for years, followed him for years and everything. And so when he was putting together a spontaneous order, he asked for assistance getting it into ebook format. Me and a bunch of other people stepped up and volunteered our assistance, and as far as I know, he didn't take anybody up on it, and then later went on to bitch about not being able to get any help. And then when he did finally publish it, he put out a free copy. Now, the free copy was a PDF, and it was published in such a way that each page was actually 4 pages on a big overlay page that was completely unusable, completely unreadable. I pointed this out to him, offered to help him, redo it into a readable format. He's like, just zoom in, it'll be fine. And it's like, fuck you. You don't care about this. I mean, And like I was saying this earlier when we started this, talking about books and people who actually back up what they fucking say. When it comes to books on anarcho-capitalism, there is one book that I recommend. And if anybody wants a copy, I will happily give them a copy. And if they enjoy it, I recommend they go buy it. It's only a couple of bucks. It's not expensive or anything. That's Lew Rockwell, Against the State, an Anarcho-Capitalist Manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
There is one difference in it from pretty much all the other books out there. In the front of it, where you normally see the copyright, this has been published under the Creative Commons. So,
there you go.
Because he published it under the Creative Commons, I can legally give copies out.
Yeah.
That is putting your money where your mouth is.
Right.
So even if I don't agree with Rockwell on everything, and I don't, especially some of the stuff on his website, I gotta give him credit. The book is well written. It's a good intro. It explains a lot of shit. And like I said, in this case, where he has said, this is what I want to get out there. I want people to understand this. He made it so it's easy to do that without any potential issues from, legal issues. So say what you want, but you got to give him kudos for that one.
Yeah. And we'll circle back to Lew Rockwell maybe in a little bit, but I do want to bring up something that Laura Lane just kind of posted in the comments. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but pretty much it says, "Where's the persons of color and opposite gender on your show?" I won't put this out
in the comments.
Yeah, they are hardcore in the comments, and we're cool with that. No, you want to come on? I don't care what you got between your legs. I don't care what color it is. You want to come on? Just say, "Hey, I want to come on," and I'll be like, "You know what? Hey, not a problem."
No blue waffles. No blue.
This is not a white man's only. This is not like the He-Man. Was it the
He-Man Woman Haters Club?
There you go. This ain't it at all.
We did have the one open night.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Whit's our token person of color.
Yeah.
Is that some Tongan or something?
But hey, I'm open to it.
Polynesian.
Yeah, send us a message on Facebook. You're like, hey, these guys are awesome, or these guys suck ass. Great. Either way, come. Yeah, you want to come on? Sure, no problem. As long as you got something to say that's at least a little bit equal to what we have to say. Sure, no problem.
I'm actually working on potentially getting us a female guest in the hopefully not too distant future.
Is it Stormy Daniels?
No.
God damn it.
No, I just I need to do some more work, and we can discuss it after the show.
Sure.
But it definitely covers the libertarian topic.
Great.
So
that's perfect. It fits right in.
I can go get us a woman guest right now. I can go right down the street. I can go grab somebody from the neighborhood.
Yeah, pull them out of their house at 9:52 at night and by the hair and be like,
we got this bomb ass neighborhood Facebook page that I can get somebody in here right now.
No, and Steve's right. Steve just popped in. Yes.
God damn it! I can't see the comments.
You do have to have a sweet beard. So if you know of any females out there that have a sweet beard who want to come on the show, please. Please,
I can get one of them from the neighborhood right now.
Here's the thing too. If you can find a nudie picture of Jeff Sessions and send it to us,
God,
I will let you be on the show forever.
Yes, I will pay you to be on the show.
I will. Yes, I will. I will drop some serious hard cash on you. So if anybody out there who's watching this has some nudie pictures of Jeff Sessions,
I want nudie pictures that aren't photoshopped. I want the real deal, crusty little worm.
Not Photoshop. Yeah, exactly. And if you find it, you send it to Horace at uncivilliberty.com.
Do it. I will ban your ass from the fucking page.
That's right, guys. Horace at uncivilliberty.com.
If you get a video, it would be even better. Like, get a video of him actually pissing on his balls because he can't lift it up high enough.
I do know how to use a band hammer.
All right. So back to it.
And
there were a lot of really strong individuals, leaders in the movement who've just totally shifted gears. And another name that really pops up that I consider part of this whole libertarian trash heap. Anyone familiar with a guy named Justin Stout?
That rings a bell.
No,
I think I went to high school with him.
Well, okay, so you flash back about 5-6 years ago. Justin Stout was trying to make a name for himself as a libertarian thought leader. The dude was obsessed with baby penises. His whole stance was circumcision it violates the NAP. I'm not here to argue that point. I don't care.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
So this guy went from anarcho-capitalist, okay, this ideology, to anarcho-primitive.
Another fucking bullshit idea.
Which I find amusing because anarcho-primitives, for those of you who don't understand some of these anarchos,
some of the shit that doesn't exist.
Yeah, anarcho-primitives believe they're probably more aligned. If you were to think about like Green Party without the state, they would probably align more along those lines. Very earth conscious, but they also believe that technology is evil, and so they believe that nobody should have computers, phones. We should pretty much kind of return to, I guess, nomadic type living.
Very boring Facebook page too. Their Twitter feed's shit.
No. His Facebook page is constantly being updated, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, come on now. If you believe that technology is bad, why the hell are you using it for one?
And Prims go one step farther. Okay, they actually believe
yeah, exactly, Laura Lane. Oh God, that guy. Yeah, exactly.
They actually go so far as to, for example, say that agriculture is evil.
Yes, that's one thing too.
Strictly hunter-gatherer.
Right.
Jesus.
And I mean, there is no possible way for this planet to support 7 billion plus people as hunter-gatherers. It can't do it.
Right.
So, unless you want to have a very nihilistic approach to it and wipe out the majority, 95, 98% of the population, you're not going to be able to have a hunter-gatherer society.
And we can break that off into another show one day and talk about all these anarcho-wahoozy what's-its. These little subtags.
I don't fucking want to.
We've got to start.
I don't want to be responsible for those Google searches.
You should. That. You really should. If you haven't dug deep into it, you start looking up like, was it mutualist, anarcho-syndicalist? It's anarcho
Methodist.
Anarcho-Methodist.
And
yes.
Look, you really need to, since you keep a pencil and or pen and paper there or whatever, you really need to start recording all these ideas, because do you realize how many times we need to do a future show?
And then every fucking Sunday and Monday we're like, what are we going to talk about today, guys?
Hey, George, what are we talking about today? That is pretty much that's pretty much the backroom chatter that for those of you who aren't privy to the enthralling world of uncivil liberty, that's our backroom chatters. All right, what are we talking about this week? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? It's like trying to decide where to go to dinner with your significant other. Well, what do you want to go eat? I don't care. What do you want to do? I don't care. Let's just talk about something.
Well, it's not just that. It's just we'll discuss it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll decide on a topic for Wednesday. So, I'll spend a couple of days, or I've stopped doing this shit, okay?
There you go. That's the best way to do this.
I stopped doing it. I would spend a couple of days doing research, getting ready for the show. Wednesday rolls around. What are we doing tonight? Anything but the topic that we had already decided on.
That's it. That's how we roll. We have to keep Horace on his feet since he's the most senior in age in this group.
We keep him young.
And I have the most time to actually do research.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, the whole time thing is definitely something.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
We are the least organized organization I've ever seen.
Hey, and that works just fine.
But we're not racist, so
exactly we're not. Yeah. And I'm seeing that the kind of tying back into especially the alt-right, the alt-right side of the libertarian movement, if you even want to call it that. seems to be pretty prevalent here in the South. So I see a hell of a lot more of it. You don't necessarily see a lot of the Antifa side of things. This isn't the West Coast. I'm sure that libertarian groups and the parties out on the West Coast probably have to deal with it a lot more than the alt-right crowd. But we see a lot more of it here.
Yeah.
And I'm even seeing that happening inside individuals, not so much quote unquote leaders, but just people who are just kind of like, yeah, I like what he's saying. And I think one of the biggest things was when, I guess what is his name, Hop?
Hans Herman something.
Hope, sure, that. If you don't know me, I'm a huge fan of economics. I love economics. I'm like the only guy that I know who gets excited about talking about economics. I get excited about making my kids research economics. That's just who I am, and I'm okay with that.
You're the devil.
My name's Luke, and I'm a economicsaholic, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So whenever an economist kind of comes out and says something, I kind of just listen a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. Like, oh my God, whenever what's his name, Krugman would talk, I would.
Oh dear God!
I honestly just wanted to stab myself with things because this man has got a Nobel Prize in economics, and the broken window theory is a plausible economic theory. No, not really. But. So when Hop or Hope or whatever, Hop came out, here recently with his most recent speech, which was pretty much advocating for, the only way to really find freedom or liberty is to pretty much deprive liberty of others and remove people from your society. I kind of had a little bit of a problem with that because it's not really, it's definitely not a liberty-based solution. That may be a conservative solution, but that's not.
That sounds a lot more conservative.
Yeah, that sounds.
We can't be happy unless you motherfuckers aren't happy. Yeah.
And I know people throw that fascist word around a lot, but that's pretty freaking fascist to think that you need to remove. You look back to some of these the fascist countries of the mid 1900s. That's what they were doing. You look at Nazi Germany, you look at even Soviet Union. You can sit there and say, "Oh, well, the communists didn't do that." Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Hell yeah, they did.
Oh,
Italy.
Well, Italy is where fascism started. So
I get this.
But no, with communism, it wasn't so much getting rid of people that weren't part of their country. Communists were more along the lines of, let's kill our own people.
Yeah, people that they didn't agree with, and like the homosexuals. Honestly, homosexuals saw a huge persecution in communist countries. Even now, Russia's not communist, but honestly, they're definitely not friendly to the homosexual community.
Oh God, no.
By any stretch of the imagination.
Oh no.
But what I don't understand is why we're seeing this happening inside libertarian circles. At what point did people turn off the liberty mindset of let people be who they are, let them be free exchange, free commerce? When did we kind of just give that up? Or why didn't not we? I'm sorry, I'm not identifying properly. When did they just kind of wake up one day and say, hey, look, this is shit? I think we need to start kicking out the Browns. If we get rid of the Browns, crime will go down.
A lot of it goes back to Hans Herman Hope.
Right.
And who coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, happens to be Austrian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lives in Turkey, I believe.
I think so. But
not that that matters or anything. I thought that does matter.
Absolutely matters.
He's a native Austrian, and
good day, mate.
That's Australian. Nice try. Horrible.
Let's see, which country?
Throw another strip on the barbie.
Which country was the head? which country was at the head of the problems in 1914, I believe it was?
That was the Austrian-Hungarian Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Had a bit of a problem.
And they kind of also tied in with the Germans in 1940s, and so, I mean, there's kind of a bit of history there.
I've become quite the expert in World War I politics because I play Battlefield 1 like it's going out of style still. And let me tell you, there's a lot of history crammed in there. So
is that even World War I?
Yep, it's World War I.
Okay, because I swear, looking at the cover of that game, I would swear it is more futuristic than like the Rainbow Six games.
Nah. You're playing with crap bolt action rifles for assault rifles. It sucks.
I said the cover. The cover makes it look like very sci-fi.
Anyway,
so
another derailed rabbit hole here. But no,
we're good at those.
Let's just change the name of this motherfucker to Derailed.
I'm gonna steer this one back in the proper lane here. Just hang on tight, guys.
The thing I dislike the most about these people that have been respected in the past, it seems very Hitler-esque, right? I don't want to throw that around lightly either. It seems very, come follow me, I have the best ideas, listen to all this good shit that I have to say, and then blammo. Make sure you kick brown people out so you can be happy.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're definitely not fucking Hitler. They're not. They don't have the same charisma that
they don't
that
have the
Stachio
same
had.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah. Je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
But that's what it seems like to me. That's what I hate the most, is that they just fucking ramble on and get people to follow them, and then it's like, you should keep following me. Fuck brown people. And
right.
And some people have followed them, and that's the shitty part.
It's because there's other libertarian podcasts besides ours. Shocking, I know that there are.
They're not real. Fake news.
We are cornering the market on a libertarian podcast because honestly, it seems like anybody who has a microphone is now a libertarian podcaster. And one of them is very, very big, and it's Liberty Hangouts. I'm sure you guys have heard of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pretty hardcore alt-right, based on a lot of the back and forth that I've seen. So you have these groups of people who are waving the libertarian flag. That are just feeding this fire.
And it's for me. It comes down to, as long as they're doing that, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep calling them out for their bullshit.
Yeah.
Because and thinking about tonight and everything, a bit of a paraphrase from one of my favorite shows came to mind. This is the line. We can either stand here or we can surrender. I choose to stand. This is the battle of the line. I will not back down.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Babylon 5.
That's a lot for a Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's pretty deep.
That's how I am too most of the time. I think Luke's pretty opinionated too.
Yeah.
And he likes to argue his point. I think we'd all agree with that. I like standing on the line. Like, yeah, challenge me.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking Roy Moore.
Yeah.
Fuck. I didn't want to talk about him.
You want to?
No.
Let's do it. Fuck that guy. I challenged him to come on the show. Here we stand. He's just a big bitch with his little lemon squeezer 32 pistol. He showed up in his cowboy hat. Fuck that guy. Anyways,
notice. Now, we'll go a little bit off track. Notice how we put it out there for Jeff Sessions nudie pictures, because I'm pretty sure there's way more nudie pictures floating around pretty all over the place.
Yeah,
and,
it's possible.
But if you have a Roy Moore one, that may actually work. You may want to check your teenage daughter's phones just in case. If you find it, send it over to Boris at uncivilliberty.com.
Again, I will ban your ass so fast.
Are you kidding me? That would be gold.
He's going to report us for hate speech.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't been already.
So, I think we blocked everybody that did it.
Probably not. There's probably
not very libertarian of us.
Yeah.
So,
who gives a fuck?
But no, I was going to say something.
Back on this
Roy Moore.
Oh.
I at this point in time, I don't think he would be able to come on he is too busy trying to get money over because he apparently is deep in the hole over losing that from that lost election.
Deep in the holes. That's what got him here.
That's right. That's getting a little.
There's no way he goes deep. No way. There's no way he's bottoming out. Give a fuck how young they are. Ain't no way.
You never know. He might fuck the sides up. You never know.
You can't touch the bottom of the tuna can, but he can stretch it out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. 2.25 inches.
Laura Lane, who's our favorite commenter. She's
oh god, yeah.
Going ew.
Yeah. Let the drive our number one fan away.
Yeah. That's all we need. Yeah. But
I'm glad we're back live. I needed comments, even though I can't see them. But fuck it.
We live for the comments. But no, that's kind of tying all this back together, and trying to unravel this train wreck. That's the biggest problem facing libertarians right now. It's not ballot access.
No.
The Libertarian National Committee is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get all these ballot access things. That's beautiful. That's great. It looks good on paper. But until you actually rebuild the name, rebuild the brand, and start actually drawing hard boundaries around things and saying, look, this is not how it is. You're not going to get the credibility that you're looking for.
Yeah, because
especially when you have a vice chair who is constantly making things worse for people.
Oh God, so, yeah.
As I said we touch on the topic before, on the show. So let's move on to Arvin. Let's take a look at Arvin. In case you don't know, Libertarian National Committee. He is the vice chair. He is the be all end all when it comes to sticking your foot in your mouth, or even if he's not, just being a shit starter.
And well, Sarwark ain't far behind him.
Yeah, but Sarwark is a little more removed. He can at least make a comment without setting the entire military community on fire.
Well, yeah, there is that. But he was the same one that was defending Antifa, though.
Oh,
remember?
I know. Oh yeah, so, I know. I'm not. That's.
So I mean,
I'm not giving a pass on that. Like he was definitely playing into Antifa and trying to get them. Hey, come on our side, guys. We're gonna help you guys out. No.
But no, I know. Arvin, or I forget.
Arvin Bahara, whatever.
Dear God, that man can fuck up.
So I'm gonna go ahead and read his quote off for our listeners. Right?
Please do.
Which one?
For our 6 listeners on the podcast.
About Kitty Diddlin, right? So here we go.
Kitty Diddlin.
Oh, please spare me the idea that it's totally natural for two men to have sex, but it's an abomination for a 25-year-old man to have sex with a 15-year-old girl. It's just too stupid to consider. The libertarian view, do what you want as long as you don't hurt anyone. That's why we want government out of marriage, love, and sex. Really? Is that what we want? I mean...
So the way that I interpret it, especially the way that you read it, because honestly that was phenomenal. I mean, that was borderline like Shakespearean. Oh my God!
I should have held my hand up like this.
Like totally, yes. And I agree, Laura Lane. He is frustrated because he hasn't had sex. Totally get that. I guess No, not you. Arvin's just frustrated because he hasn't gotten drilled much lately. Yeah, probably so. We don't know what goes on at the Libertarian National Committee. He may actually be just getting filled by all holes. That's very possible. And if you want to think about that, just chew on that tonight when you're trying to go to sleep.
Yeah, the 2-hole punch.
But there was a huge reaction to this. I mean, to the point where people were even hitting me up and saying, "Oh my God, did you see this?" People who are no longer affiliated with the party hit me up. People who are affiliated with the party, who are here locally, I'm like, yeah, I saw it. I don't really have any words. I have no way to guide you on this one. If his argument was about the way statutory rape laws are, there's a much better way to word that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I responded to one of the people. It's like, look, I'm not saying what he said. I'm not agreeing with what he said, but there is a huge problem in the way that the current laws are kind of written. And hear me out before the knee-jerk reactions start kicking and screaming, is that the way the law is written in the majority of these states, that anyone under the age of 16 years old, and maybe 15 in some states, they're not legally able to consent because they don't have the mental capacity to consent. Okay? That's pretty much the way, for the most part, the way each law reads.
Mm-hmm.
Where I start having a problem is if a 14-year-old girl can choose to, without her having her parents involved, choose to have birth control, and can also choose to whether or not to have an abortion or to keep a child without her parents' say, then there is a breakdown in the way that the law is written.
Oh, absolutely.
And then also, if a 14-year-old drives a car and kills 4 people, let's say there was intent, he's going to be tried as an adult at the age of 14. The issue I have, again, is intellectual honesty.
Yeah. And
whether or not, let me finish this train of thought, and I'll let you jump in, is the law needs to be a little more equal across. You cannot sit here and say in good faith that someone under the age of 16 is not mentally competent enough to be able to consent to engage in sexual activities. But they can, at the age of 14, choose to keep a baby. They made a choice to engage in consensual sexual activity 9 times out of 10 if they're going to keep the baby. But so you're telling me that they can in this instance, they're mature enough to handle the responsibility of raising another life, but they're not responsible enough to consent
to making another life.
To making another life.
Yeah.
But they're also responsible. But they're also mentally competent enough, and they know enough from right from wrong to be tried as an adult.
Unless they're just shoplifting, then they're just tried as a kid.
Right.
It's fucking goofy. I mean, I know.
So the legislatures, or however you want, state, national, whatever level you want to look at, kind of need to come together and look at all these separate laws and say, okay, is this person capable of making this decision at the age of 16, yes or no? Yes? Okay. Then it needs to apply across the board. So a 14-year-old can no longer get medical treatment or choose to keep a baby without parental consent, and they can't be tried as an adult. Either the state looks at somebody under the age of 18 as incompetent to making decisions or competent. There's no arbitrary, at the whim of the state, we'll decide what we feel is best.
Yep.
And that's my stance. And people are like, well, oh my God, you're condoning pedophilia. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is that there needs to be a level of intellectual honesty across the board. You cannot, the way the laws are written, and a lot of times, it's just, over here it's illegal, over here it's fine. You can't really, if you want the law to be just and equal across the board, it needs to be just and equal across the board. Go.
And for anybody that might be going, well, if you had a daughter, allow me to point out that Luke does have a 15-year-old daughter.
I got 3 daughters and 1 son. All right.
So, but we're talking in that age that we're really talking about now.
My oldest is 15, about to turn 16.
So I mean, he is not talking about as somebody who has no kids or anything. This is so.
The thing is that from an age when they started to kind of come into their own level of maturity, I began talking to him about these concepts. I told him about, hey, it's your body, it's your choice. I've never been shy about talking about sex, drugs, the real world shit. I'm a very rough parent, and I'll tell them, nobody gives a shit about your feelings. No one cares about your feelings as much as you do. So you need to learn how to be able to control your emotions. Oh yeah. So there's no topic that's taboo in our house, because that's, as when I set out being a parent, I'm like, look, I've got to raise this thing that shits itself to be a functioning member of society and to be able to make mature decisions as time goes on. And I think, with my oldest, I think I've done a pretty decent job. I'm not saying I'm not the best dad in the world. I'll be the first one to admit it. But overall, with the way that she thinks, the way that she understands certain concepts, she's a much further along than some of her counterparts.
Oh yeah, I mean, and having have friends with kids of various ages and been around, children of various ages up into, 17, 18, 19, 20, uh, and everything. Uh, she has a pretty good head on her shoulders. She knows more about what's going on, what's happening, and I think has a better understanding than a lot of people 5, 10 years her senior in age.
Mm.
So, good job.
Well, thank you.
Bravo.
So,
Luke.
But again, I'm not in any way, shape, or form advocating for anything. And yes, maybe Arvin is advocating for it. Sounds like he is.
Kind of sounds like it. Kind of sounds like he would rather have a 25-year-old fuck a 15-year-old than have two guys having sex. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, honestly, when I see a picture of him, I think he belongs in System of a Down. That's just kind of like, when I see him, I'm like, he would fit in well somewhere in there. I don't think the members would want him because I don't think they would really go for this type of stance. But it's like this is the type of stuff that the LNC is not getting in front of. They're letting it kind of roll. And then yes, I know Laura Lane, you brought up that they're going to censure him, or there's a motion to censure. Censoring doesn't do anything. Are they going to do a judicial committee? What's that going to do? There's really nothing. If he gets voted out, fine, that's great. Whatever. It doesn't change the damage that has been done, and it doesn't change the fact that the LNC is not trying to repair the damage.
And this is not the first time he's done something like that.
No.
So I mean, if it was a first time offense, okay.
Yeah.
But this is not the first time he said.
Well, even if it's a first time offense, it's a horrible first time offense.
Yeah,
it's one thing to slip up and be like, I don't like gay people.
Yeah, this is like face first. This face plant.
And honestly, he did something that I think should just be left off for now. Because and I will be the first to admit, issues like age of consent are a very hot topic in the libertarian community. And honestly, at this point, until we have a libertarian society, I don't think we really need to worry about it.
Right.
Let's get there first.
That's the thing that I talk about all the time with this utopia that we want. Maybe not utopia. Maybe it's real in the future. But we talk about these things in absolutes. But in reality, we're actually, those of us that are members of the party are trying to get motherfuckers in office. And if you keep doing shit like this, motherfuckers aren't going to be in office. I don't give a fuck who you think you are. You can't say, oh, but free speech, and oh, we can fuck 15-year-olds. You can't do that shit on a national level. I'm sorry. You're not going to put anybody in office. Doesn't matter how much you spend on ballot access.
Even before he did this, I kept running into people, where if libertarianism was mentioned, okay? The first thing, oh, you mean that group where the guy said this about the military and the police and the teachers?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's it. First and foremost, if you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of the law enforcement industry, because it's what it is. It's an industry. It's a money making scheme, is all it is. But I'm not the most tactful person. If you know me, I'm not the most tactful person. But even I know that there's a level of tact that if you are actually trying to convince people of any type of argument or giving you some sort of credibility in your argument, the way to go about doing it is not to call him a rapist.
Or a murderer.
More murderers, whether it's true or not, you don't sit there and insult the person that you're trying to, educate.
I disagree. You, sir, are a rapist.
You must like to rape people. That's going to shut people down pretty quick. And the fact, here's the kicker too, is that he has said these things, and like our state party hasn't come out and said anything about it. They haven't been like, no, he is off his rocker. No, they haven't. They've been quietly, funneling money for ballot access. That's what their focus has been. Even the chair for the LNC hasn't refuted anything that he said. The figurehead for the libertarian political movement, not the philosophical, but the political movement, quiet as a mouse. Don't give a shit.
Yep.
If leadership doesn't care, if leadership's not willing to get in front of these issues, that's tarnishing the name and the brand of libertarian then you can't get pissed when people walk away.
Yeah.
When people cancel their memberships and say, you know what, I'm out.
You're actually really fucking stupid if you think that they're not going to.
Right.
And this is why I have been saying for a while now, once things became very apparent to me at how things were and the direction things were going to go, that, I've been very strenuously stating that if you are a member of the LP, run like hell.
Yep, and that's kind of like, after seeing the way things have unfolded over the past couple of months, I'm like, I'm totally understanding it. Yeah, originally I was kind of like, we can get in there, we can fix this and stuff. It's like trying to fix cancer. You really can't. It's going to take a massive overhaul across the board at national, state levels to fix the damage that has been done. And and I know the LNC has this big focus right now of getting every state on the ballot for 2018, which is we'll bypass the strategic nonsense of that. But you're wanting to get everyone on the ballot, but you're not wanting people to vote for your party.
Yeah,
you're not fixing the image. It's like, hey, vote for us. We condone pedophilia and hate military people. It's a really hard sell, especially here in the South. It's a super duper hard sell.
Yeah, but that's another part of that, the intellectual dishonesty that you talk about all the time, and they have this goal, but they have their 1 year goal set, but they don't have their 5 year goal set or their 10-year goal set. It's like every dumb schmuck who has joined the Army. I did it. I joined the Army to get an MOS, which is a job. I joined the Army to get a job for what I wanted to do while I was in the Army. I didn't think shit about what I was going to do when I got out. And that's exactly what these people are doing. They're like, well, we're just going to be in the Army. We're just going to get ballot access. Well, what's the point of spending all that fucking money if you're not going to get anybody elected? Because everybody thinks we're white supremacist retards.
Exactly. And there's a lot of people that say that the Libertarian movement, Libertarian Party, is just a gateway into the alt-right.
Yeah.
And while that's not true, I can't blame people who are on the outside looking in, and they see this type of stuff. I can't really fault them for that misconception, because we're not doing anything to fix that.
Yeah.
Leadership, like political leadership, philosophical leadership, isn't doing anything to remedy this. They're not doing anything to put boundaries up and say, whoa, no.
Well, let's take a look, because his name's come up several times already. Let's look at Mr. Libertarian himself.
Which one? There's so
Anson Knowles.
No.
Oh.
No.
Not Anson? That's a name I haven't talked about in a while. That's a name
No,
Who's Mr. Libertarian?
When it comes to modern libertarianism, getting the message out, and forming libertarian groups...
Is it Cory Booker?
Bernie Sanders.
No.
Oh, God.
We're terrible at this.
Founded the Ludwig von Mises Institute.
Oh, Lou Rockwell.
Ron Paul. Oh.
No, Lou Rockwell.
Rand Paul.
He has a website, LouRockwell.com. Okay? A lot of the shit on there isn't his writing.
In all fairness, you did advocate his book, so let's just...
Yeah.
But
the book is well done. And it wasn't so much that I advocated the book, as I said, with that book, he put his money where his mouth is. Although the book is well written, I do recommend it. But the book and his website are two different things. He wrote the book. Yep. Lou Rockwell wrote that book. Okay? His website has a lot of different authors. Some of them definitely, there's a certain amount of alt-right content on there. And
I'm pulling it up right now. That's what I'm doing.
Just
lemongrinders.org, whatever it was.
Lemonparty.org.
Lemon Party.
This show is sponsored by lemonparty.org. Please
lemonparty.org.
Lemon Party. Lemonparty.org.
Let's go back to what started this entire thing, okay? Mm-hmm. Which was not just the book, but the foreword to Christopher Chase Rachel's book.
Yeah.
Okay? Which was, he had asked Hans Hermann Hope to write one. He agreed. After more information came to light, or from one viewpoint, or the Mises Institute folks got a hold of Hope and said, no, don't.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on which viewpoint you want to look at it from. He said he retracted and said, no, do not use it. And they ended up publishing it either on his side or Lee Rockwell's side. I forget which.
Mm-hmm.
If you read it, it's in the same vein as the book itself. And at the end of it, he mentions several good websites, including Rachel's website. He is still fucking pushing Molyneux.
Mm.
I mean, good God, man.
Yeah.
You should be going, fuck Molyneux.
Yeah. No, that's a fair statement. I pulled up his list of authors on his website, and most of them I don't really know. I may have seen their names in passing, but a few of the ones that stand out, he's got Judge Napolitano, as an author on the site. I've never heard him come out with anything that's against libertarian ideology.
I can't either.
He's always been relatively. He stayed the course very, very well. He's got Kinsella on here. Of course, he's got Hope, Hop, whatever. Bob Murphy.
Yeah.
Got Bob Murphy on here.
A number of those folks are also Mises Institute fellows.
Right. Got Rothbard on here.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Schiff is pretty popular from the financial perspective of things. Tom Woods.
Mm-hmm.
I can't in good faith. Thomas Sowell. I can't in good faith say that the Lou Rockwell side is 100% alt right.
Oh no. But the fact that he's allowing that kind of stuff on there in the first place is problematic for me.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. So I really honestly don't know what's going on in the mindset of these quote unquote leaders. I mean, from the philosophical perspective, and why these shifts are happening, why we're seeing such a draw to the alt right side of things inside the libertarian movement.
Well,
and why some of these entrenched leaders who've been around for years and years. I mean, like, we're talking about people who've, like Napolitano, for example, has been around for a long time. Why these people aren't coming out and taking a firmer stand against this shift. The shift to shit. Let's call it that. The shift to shit.
I can explain with Napolitano, okay? And it comes down to one very simple factor: money.
Mm.
His job depends on not doing it.
Yeah, I agree, because the people who are watching him talk probably subscribe to some of those thoughts.
Well, it's not just that, but remember, he's already been fired from Fox News once.
Mm-hmm.
Over a 5-minute speech. I'm sure you've seen the How to Get Fired from Fox in 5 Minutes.
I haven't watched that yet, but I guess I need to.
Oh, it's good. It's basically a what if, and every what if is basically something that's going on right now. And it is so damning to the political machine as it exists now that it's just that they fired him and he managed to work his way back in. But Napolitano, there's a lot of things he won't say out and out. There's a video where somebody said, I think you're an anarchist and just won't say anything. His reply, you don't hear me saying anything. So, I mean, for him, it's a job, by maintaining that job, he can spread the message. So he has to
bite his tongue.
Yeah.
It's just like another guy that's a fairly stringent libertarian that has occasionally had to bite his tongue, step back, and take some time off to for money reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Swan.
Yep. He's a media personality, so that kind of comes with the territory. I mean, the media is notoriously non-liberty based, and very much pro propaganda based, where he kind of cuts through the BS. I thought you were going to say Rose Larkin, because
Larkin Rose.
Larkin Rose, sure, that guy. He's one of the ones that seems to have, him and Kokesh are the two that really just kind of come to mind, who seem to have really stayed the course in regards to message. They haven't really shifted too much.
No.
Whereas it seems like everybody else who were their contemporaries during the time when they started getting big have made massive shifts, and a lot of them to the right, to the white power side.
Well, yeah. There's no doubt about that. But there are others. I mean, it's been a few months now, but I started following Robert Higgs.
Mm-hmm.
He's staying pretty true to the course.
Yeah.
Libertarianism is what it is, and if it's not, he's going to call it for what it is. I mean, he will call people statist when they're being statist.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty fucking sure if he was asked about Rachel's book, he'd go, "The man's not fucking libertarian, he's a fucking statist."
Yeah. Agreed.
So, but no, Larkin Rose is definitely there. Kokesh. The problem with Adam Kokesh is Adam keeps doing shit that makes sure he is on the radar.
Yeah.
Hardcore. Which is why he is now sitting in a Texas jail cell.
Yeah. I don't know if he's out yet or not, but
last I heard, he did not have the money to pay his bail, which was $7,800.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that pretty much, depending on how far they push it and whether they can get a conviction, I don't know if he's facing any felonies, but even if it's just a misdemeanor, by the time the trial comes around, his sentencing comes around, and even if it's a misdemeanor and they sentence him to just the full 1 year, by the time he is out, his entire plan for that 2020 run, it's dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, as much as it'd be interesting to see his 2020 run, I don't see gaining a lot of traction, especially with the way things are shifting. I don't think he has the support base strong enough to be able to really get in there and prevent Bill Weld, for example, from getting seeking the nomination.
And
that'll be a nightmare.
If Weld seeks the nomination and gets it, then all it has done for me is prove that all along what I've been saying is right. The Libertarian Party isn't about liberty. It's not about libertarianism, because they're not choosing libertarians for their nominees. Bill Weld is not a libertarian.
No, I know, and that's a conversation that we can have down the line as
we've already had it about 3 times.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, no, and it's true. It's true.
Going back to why we're seeing this movement, I think I'm seeing a parallel movement, and it didn't really hit me till I read an article on LouRockwell.com one day. But I got to thinking about it after reading it, and Tom Woods and some other folks, some of the other big name libertarians, are all pushing a particular angle that I have issues with, and we were discussing it earlier. And they're right on one point, but I think totally wrong on another. they're right in that libertarianism, in and of itself, is just a philosophy that's not enough to bind people together as a group.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they need a common ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the problem I see is what they recommend is that common ground, which is Christianity.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, fuck that shit.
And that's a problem. It's a huge problem because there's a good chunk of atheists that are out there who do wave the libertarian banner.
Well,
I don't think anyone in this conversation piece right here identifies as Christian. Is that a fair statement?
Definitely. I mean,
that's 100% accurate, not just fair.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned it because I've mentioned several things about myself on the show before.
Yep.
But, you know, for those who are not aware already, because I'm pretty open about it, actually I'm very open about it, I am devoutly pagan.
Right.
You know?
And you see a lot of people who are either non-religious or just at least non-Christian inside the libertarian movement. So so trying to use Christianity or any religion, Islam, I don't care, as the common interest that binds everyone together, it's not going to bode well for you. That's a constitutionalist party thing, not a libertarian thing.
I think it can be done, but it has to be done in a very, very particular way.
I'm sorry.
It ain't be done here.
Yeah, I was going to say, no.
I think too many people in the South that identify as libertarian, that they subscribe to that ideology, probably know that Christianity's for the Republicans. I mean, realistically.
No. I'm not saying Christianity, but I'm saying I can see a way of putting together a religion that would work.
I don't know, man.
So
We'll discuss it later.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's get our thoughts together on that one. I don't know.
That's a deep.
I'm not buying it. I don't know. We can't get libertarians to agree whether or not a libertarian party is a good idea. So
that's true. We can't get libertarians to agree whether or not pissing away money is a good idea or not.
Yeah. We can't get libertarians to agree whether or not liberty is a fucking good idea.
Anything. Not one goddamn thing.
Which is something that we do need to focus on shit like that. It's just that I understand the anarchist concept of pulling back because I wish that's what I could do. I wish I could say, you know what, fuck it all. But in reality, we still live in this world where having a libertarian party is a much better idea than a Republican Party or a Democrat Party, because despite what your ideology is, you still live in this bubble that's controlled by a state. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter where you go. You can't escape it right now. Not inside the soon-to-be walls of this country. But if you could, just for a minute, put aside your anarcho-capitalist dreams and think about what could happen with a minimalistic state, then maybe you start to lean towards that party a little bit and start to vote again, kind of move into that thing, and then start pulling back. Once you get one of the big guys in there, then pull it back.
Here's the thing, though. History has shown a minimalist state never stays that way.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I think what he's trying to get at is getting people on board with the idea of it.
Yeah, because a maximalist state is still worse than a minimalist state.
Well, yes, but
and then starts to okay, now that we minimized it, let's remove it from this area and this area and kind of I guess work backwards and kind of backtrack, pull people out of it.
Most babies have to be weaned off the tit. That's just
that's exactly it. We are our economy is based on how much you can get from the federal government. Huntsville specifically is a great example of it.
Oh yeah.
People are going and trading stocks. They want to have government oversight in that. You have to take each one of these sections and kind of back it out. The problem is the party that's supposed to be doing that is not doing that. Yeah. They're focusing on other bells and whistles instead of actually being the voice of reason that voters. That libertarians and then also a lot of independent voters are looking for, being like, yeah, I don't really like the psychos on this side, I don't like the psychos on this side. I'm gonna go with these, pretty rational people. And unfortunately, they're all fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why we started this, was to provide a baseline, to try to educate and to help people understand. I mean, for me, I just completely toss the state altogether because, I believe with, if somebody is willing to think, and this is the problem.
It's tough, man. You're asking a
Yeah,
lot.
if they're willing to think, it can be shown that the state is entirely unnecessary. There is nothing the state can do that the market can't do better.
Right. But 330 million people don't believe that.
Don't have to get 330 million people.
Yeah, but the thing is that the gross majority of the people
150
out there, regardless of their waving Republican or Democrat or even sometimes Libertarians, don't see it that way. Because you have these you have the minarchist Libertarians who are like, hey, we got to have some structure here. Finding solutions that don't require force is something that neither side really excels at.
No.
Either in any way, shape, or form.
There are people who think that if we woke up tomorrow without a government, they wouldn't remember how to use a fucking stop sign. So, I mean, it's hard for me to grasp that in my lifetime that we're going to ever end up in that type of situation. I hope we do. That would be fantastic. But until then, I'm going to try to find someone to vote for that starts to bring it back down. It's not ever going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen a little bit, right? We had Ron Bishop, right? He was a good one that I got behind. But there's just not a lot that I can vote for that I feel like are gonna bust out regulations and bust up regulatory bodies. But to deny that we need something like that to happen as a transition type of phase, it's kind of, I think it's pipe dreams.
Yeah. Because we've been ingrained with the need for the state for so long.
Yeah. It's
just built into our culture. Try talking to somebody who's a Republican about not spending $716 billion on increased military spending.
Yeah.
We fucking need it. We need it. For what? We just spent another $700 billion over here.
What if somebody attacks Israel? What are we going to do if we don't have $700 billion?
Let them fight it themselves.
Right, yeah, but that's not a good answer to half the fucking country.
That's the thing is, like, people are so trained to believe, and so you have to untrain them, and you can't, it's kind of like quitting smoking cold turkey. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Oh,
people freak out, and they're like, oh my god, if the police aren't there, then crime is going to be everywhere because the police stop crime. No, they really don't.
No.
Nevertheless, crime persists.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say they commit more than they stop.
Oh yeah, and that's no doubt about that.
Again, but even with fucking video cameras, you can't prove that to them. Like that's what I mean. Like there are people that are so ingrained that you have to have it. You just have to have it because nothing.
Believe me, I know, because I mean, I am literally stunned and heartbroken every time I see something where. I mean, it is so obvious that the police were way out of line.
So, the issue now is that instead of having the leaders inside libertarianism or the Libertarian Party focusing on these aspects of education and coaching and being the actual leaders, they're focused on other things that do more damage, that turn people off from the idea. Instead of standing up and saying, hey, look, that's bullshit. You got to stop that shit. And so, if the LP as a whole wants to see, getting more offices and just getting into an office that's at a higher level, there has to be some back work done. There has to be some damage control and then retraining, and that's going to take years upon years. Especially after what's been going on over the past year inside.
I will say there is one area where as far as education, where I don't know if it was exactly how it got started or whatever. I think it was just a viral thing that has taken off, and from so many libertarians hammering it, that I'm starting to see more and more make its way into a lot of mainstream conversations. No victim, no crime.
Yeah, but but the thing is, it's an echo chamber.
You know.
It's making its way into conversations in libertarians.
No, I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see it in regular groups. I'm starting to see it more and more on news stories, and things where, especially with pot busts.
Yeah, I will give you that. You are starting to see a lot more of a change. In the idea of marijuana, especially here in Alabama. I'm surprised because
I'm really surprised. Like I got like 120 likes on some making fun of the cops for that big huge drug bust in Coleman. I was like, oh, congratulations, you fucking ruined Frito-Lay stock or whatever, And people are laughing and they're having like, what the fuck, is this still Alabama?
Yeah,
are Baptists smoking pot? What the hell?
Probably they are.
Well,
and telling people that's the thing.
They
were doing it in the closet. Now at least they're talking about it.
The problem is not the people of Alabama. The problem is our legislature,
who has
long since stopped representing the people of Alabama.
Yeah,
no, that's true, and I think a lot of other states could say the same thing too. It's not a problem that we face just here, and that's another aspect of libertarian leadership not standing up and being vocal, philosophically or politically. No, they're not being. They want to tackle esoteric, obscure concepts, or they want to piss people off and call them names, and advocate for things that probably shouldn't be advocating for. That's more important to them than actually finding solutions to these problems, and that's why so many people are kind of just, we're done, we're walking away. It's your party. You can cry if you want to.
Wow. Y'all may disagree with me, but I'm willing to bet if Alabama had, say, a referendum system like California, okay, we would have legal pot. We would have a lottery.
Yes. Legal pot, maybe.
At least medical.
Medical, I'll give you medical on that one.
Medical would at least coming down the pipipeline pretty soon, anyway.
Yeah, 5 years later.
Not as long as our legislature is arranged as it is now.
Yeah.
This is the same legislature that just a year or two ago gave all the pot bills. I forget what it is. I think it's the Black Shroud Award, which is given each year for the absolute deadest bill to be introduced to the legislature. And it was that is an insult. And the lady who does it, who puts it forth each year, I feel so sorry for her having to put it with that bullshit. Honestly, I would have taken that award, thrown it down at my feet, smashed it, and said, fuck y'all. She has more class.
That's true.
So, but it's not the people, it's the legislature, although the people are responsible for electing the legislature.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, but if you're a libertarian and you're an anarchist and you're not participating and you gotta, if you feel strong enough about a candidate that's in your area that's representing you that has this stuff, you should probably vote for him if that's what you want, or you run the risk of having some pot in your car when you get pulled over and you're going to jail. That's kind of like how you're. But again, I believe in everything that I support what you stand for, what Luke stands for, and you have to. When you're voting, you're giving them consent to make decisions based with your support, and there just aren't that many that I would give that consent to.
And see, that is exactly why I don't vote. And I did make an exception because again, y'all had wrote me in, and in hindsight,
he was a good guy, regardless of whatever party flag he was waving.
I will not argue that. Ron is a great guy. If I did
cooked
vote,
a pig for me, that's
For you, yeah.
But not wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I will not. I mean, Ron. Yeah. I mean, I respect Ron. I like Ron. If I were a voter and he ran again, I would vote for him again. Okay. But for me, when it comes down to it, I do follow the Larkin Rose School, which is that when you vote, you are giving sanction to the state because you are supporting the state. You're supporting the system in and of itself. I do not. Therefore, I do not vote. I refuse to give it my sanction.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I just find, for me, it's hard for me to bitch about anything legally if I'm not at least doing what I can do now in the current system. I just can't.
Illegal bitching is the best.
Right? Yeah, that's true. But for me, I want legal pot. Right. I want as few restrictions on freedom as we possibly can, and I feel like I should go advocate for those people who support it. There just aren't any, so I can't. Not in this fucking state. There's Ron, and I voted for him. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean the number of people who are decent in politics is really small. I mean, like, honestly, the only, outside of Ron, as far as elected officials, I can think of one in Alabama has done stuff that I respect, and that, based on what I've read of his writings and stuff, I'm like, good guy,
But he got kicked off the bench and then ran for Senate and lost.
No, God, no. No.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Just kidding.
He's a state senator from, I think, a little east of Huntsville area, or maybe in the Huntsville area. Bill Holtzclaw.
Oh yeah, he's all right.
He supported all the free hops bills. His basic philosophy, unless he's changed, is: are you hurting anybody? No. You should be allowed to do it.
Right.
He did kill. He did vote no against some kind of casino or something. I do remember that, or maybe poker machines or something like that. He was like, "Yeah, I support a lottery, but I don't support gambling like that," or some shit like that. I remember he at some town hall he said that.
I'd like to know more about it because, I mean, it's kind of like, when Justin Amash votes against something and you go, What the fuck, Justin? And you find out that there's a rider on it that he couldn't support. So, and I don't expect to agree with everybody on everything. But historically, from what I know of Holtzclaw, he's one of the best in the state. Now, on the opposite side of the fence, we have some of the worst of the worst, like my state senator here in Decatur, Arthur Orr. The absolute fucking shithead who, if it's anti-liberty, his name's probably on it because he probably fucking wrote it. He was the one that made it much more difficult to get your GED and drop out of school to get your GED. He was the one that wrote the Kratom ban. I mean, if you look at anti-liberty, anti-freedom, Arthur Orr's fucking name is on it somewhere.
That's true, but I will say this: WVNN in Athens, they love him. Love him with a passion.
I'm not fucking surprised. I mean,
love him with a passion. He's always on those shows. But anyway,
he can kiss my ass.
There you go. That's a good way to end the show right there.
So,
all right, we went 2 full hours on this. I guess we're trying to get back to being live, so we provided all the live that people can handle because people have fallen off like hardcore. So we're going to wrap this up. Any last words, Horace? Or are you good?
Nope.
All right.
I think that's it.
You got that out of your system with Arthur Orr. That's awesome. Alston, what you got?
Man, I just fuck the white power tarnish trash on libertarianism. It sucks that I'm now going to have to explain that to whoever asks me next about being libertarian. That's just get the fuck out of here with that shit, man.
It's simple enough. It's not libertarian. Period. End of discussion.
It's just not that simple with the people that I talk to.
No, that's
because
true.
But perception is reality in almost everything in life, and that's our perception now. So it sucks. Unless we can get millions of people to watch Uncivil Liberty,
which would be awesome.
We're trying.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
We can spread the word.
That's right.
All that. Get on the tweeters and tweet.
Yeah, check out our website, uncivilliberty.com, Facebook page.
Yep.
At Uncivil Liberty Show, and the Twitters, and the podcasts, and the YouTubers.
Yeah.
And
we have our own category on Pornhub.
Yes. I also have my own too. Just look at that.
Yeah, they're right below each other.
Again, also check out our sponsor, lemonparty.org, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that. Outside of that, guys.
Oh, what was our other sponsor's name? Meatspin.
Meatspin.fr.
Yeah, meatspin.fr and lemonparty.org. .org, folks. .org.
I do not endorse this shit, by the way.
I just like to, when I go to sleep at night, I just want to just see people's faces. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's the fucking best, man.
All right, so this has been another evening that you've killed. It's 2 hours, not just 1 hour, but 2 hours. That could have been better spent doing a boatload of other things otherwise, but you decided to spend it with us, and we appreciate that. Until next week, everybody, have a good night.
Good night, Al.
Good night.